Would you choose Jesus in your dying moments? Atheists spend all their time figuring out morals, and atheists are crazy for rejecting God. These are just a few of the stupid things that theists say. And believe me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Why do theists say such stupid things? We may never know the answer to that, but at least we can say why what they're saying is stupid. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims, and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. From the most sincere believers to some of the most ridiculous arguments for a god's existence, this video has theists saying completely stupid things, and it's about time we put some of these tired, constantly repeated arguments to bed. We may even cover every fallacy in the Theists Say Stupid Things playbook. So, before pointing out even more stupid, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell, and maybe the algorithm will stop being stupid. And a super thanks to a super thanks in a recent video, Fred Says So, and a big thank you to channel members who get to use Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. Right, we're heading to Australia again for this one.
I have a question for the atheists out there. A sincere question.
Oh, good. A sincere question. Keep that word in mind.
And the reason I'm asking this is, well, I had a patient die last night, unexpectedly. And before I knew this patient actually was an atheist. And it got me thinking.
I'm genuinely sorry for your loss, but I am a little concerned that your immediate takeaway from losing a patient was, but what about Jesus though?
If you died, and in your dying moments when everyone else thinks you're passed away already, but in those dying moments, you're confronted with Jesus. And he said, you know, I know you've not got to know me or you've rejected me, but now's your chance. You can still choose me or not. It's up to you. Would you still choose Jesus at that moment?
So the whole premise here is a hypothetical where God has already been proven to exist. Jesus literally appears to you, and then, would you pick him? That's not a question about atheism at all. That's just asking whether you'd accept something after it's been demonstrated to be real, which is just evidence working as intended.
And I did ask this to a friend of mine, a while ago, an atheist friend, and you know what? He said no. And that shocked me. And I said, wait a minute, why would you say no? And he, of course, said, well, that God of the Old Testament is not very nice, blah, blah, blah.
It shocked you that your friend has a consistent moral position? He's not rejecting a God out of spite. He's saying the specific God of the Old Testament is not something he'd want to spend eternity with. That's pretty reasonable to me.
And then we had a good old friendly discussion. I said to him, are you crazy? You're confronted with God, the one being that could answer all your questions.
Oh, I'd have loads of questions, starting with the children mauled by bears for calling a man bald.
And based on your incredibly limited understanding of the Old Testament, which you've never bothered to study anyway.
Atheists statistically do know more about religious texts than believers. That's not just me being snarky, that's actually been measured. Also, your friend is right there. Ask him, rather than assuming.
You're going to reject God. I called him stupid. He called me stupid as well. And we're friends.
So the sincere question guy called his atheist friend stupid for having a principled position. There's that word again. Sincere.
Just, as a bit of a friendly discussion, but I'm genuinely curious out there. Like, to the atheists, in your dying seconds, your moments, dying moments, you get the Jesus appears to you, maybe your eyes are closed and it's in your mind, whatever, and you get a chance to be with him. Would you take it? I was surprised that some people wouldn't.
Here's the problem with this whole hypothetical. It only makes sense if you already believe. For an atheist, it's like asking if Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leaf be upon her, appeared and offered you a ride, would you take it? The question assumes the conclusion. That's just not how any of this works. Next.
His passion is singing. He even has special hollows in his snout that amplify his song.
Oh, I love this series. I've been watching it with my 2-year-old, and it's about to be ruined by a complete lack of understanding.
We don't know, y'all. We don't know. These people, I don't know. They enjoyed Jurassic Park a little bit too much. They Darwined a little too hard, and they came up with this world. And we're all supposed to trust these people. I saw someone on Instagram say, you'll believe in the Ankylosaurus, but you won't believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ our Lord?
Well, of course I won't believe in that. One has actual hard evidence of its existence, and the other is a story from a book. A book which...
No one cares!
About.
You have faith, atheist. You might have more faith than me, because you watch this documentary and you're like, this for sure happened.
No one is saying it for sure happened. Folks just look at existing behaviours, evidence of markings from the creatures that were once there, and say, oh, this might be how they acted. Instead of being miserable that only gullible fools believe in a man getting hammered and then nailed for a heavy weekend, just enjoy a little show. Jeez. Next.
Atheism linguistically means not a theist. An atheist is someone who makes a knowledge claim that there is no God.
Linguistically, atheism means without theism, without belief in a God. That's it. Not a knowledge claim, not a positive assertion, just a lack of belief. You've started your video about atheism by getting the definition of atheism wrong. What a fantastic start.
That is a claim that requires justification because it's a positive assertion and it requires some sort of argument to back it up. Therefore, this type of atheist must provide evidence for their position. Guys, let's talk about atheism. From my perspective, somebody once said this on YouTube, that atheism is probably a brother from Speaker's Corner. He said, atheism is basically, an atheist is somebody who knocks on your well-built door with a great foundation. The atheist knocks on the believer's door and tell him to step out of that building and come join him, where he's just standing there outside. He's not even knocking on the door. He's just yelling, come outside, come outside, come outside.
Oh, I love an analogy. So believers are in a well-built house and atheists are just, what, standing outside yelling, come on out? Except nobody built that house. You were born into it. You were just handed the keys before you could even ask what a house was. That's not a well-built foundation. That's just where you happen to land.
And you are asking as a believer, why? Why should I step outside of this building that has everything? You're then asking this atheist, why should I step out there? What will their answer be?
Because some of us looked out the window and noticed the house is on fire. That's why.
If they claim to have some sort of other building, well, now you can investigate that. But now my question is, why would you almost waste your time trying to build this new building?
Because the old building has some serious structural issues. Slavery, bear maulings, genocide. The architecture is a bit suspect if you ask me.
Let's say they have something. Well, they have to build their own stuff, because atheist is somebody who rejects God's laws, God's morals and ethics and all these kind of things. The atheist will say, we can just do it ourselves. We are human beings. Well, since you are rejecting anything that is divine, now you have to create anything that is basically based on something that is naturalistic.
Yes, exactly. We can, and we do, every day, without smiting anyone.
Now, what do? You have to build this from scratch. You are a human being. You have probably 60 to 80 years on this earth, if you're even lucky. 60 to 80 years on this earth, and now you have to spend that time figuring out basic morals and ethics. Why would you spend your time? Guys, this is just to start a discussion in the comments down below. Why would you spend your time, your few short years? You're literally sleeping a third of it, working a third of it, and then you maybe have some time left for your own activities.
Here's the thing. Humans have been figuring out morals and ethics together for thousands of years. It's called philosophy, it's called empathy, it's called society. We didn't start from scratch last Tuesday. Also, you're sleeping a third of your life regardless of whether you believe in a God or not. God doesn't give you extra hours.
Why not just use some toolbox that are already out there? You can literally just search for some of the religions that are out there and see what's already been well built.
The toolbox that includes stoning people for working on Saturdays, that toolbox, I'll pass.
And what actually works. Now, as an atheist, in my view, you have to spend so much time trying to figure everything out on your own, and you can't even test it immediately. I mean, your new way of thinking, if it's even new, your way of thinking, your alternative way of thinking, if that's a great way of thinking. And how do you even measure that? Is that by maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain? You have to spend so much time testing this thing out, and you don't even, you can't afford it. That's the thing. You can't afford to be an atheist as a human being from a resource perspective.
You can't afford to be an atheist? That's a new one. I've heard a lot of arguments, but the budget one is genuinely fresh. Mate, I'm not outsourcing my morality to a Bronze Age document to save time. That's not efficiency. That's just laziness with extra prayer.
That's just one of the things. But I would actually like to have a discussion with you guys in the comments, or maybe a Discord chat, maybe a video call or something. If anybody's willing, let's talk about why you are an atheist. It will actually be very, very interesting. And maybe I'm wrong about something, and maybe you are right about something, and vice versa.
I'll give him this. At least he's open to discussion, which is more than most. But perhaps start the discussion by learning what atheism actually means before making a 3-minute video about it. Just a thought. Next.
Do you ever look at a building and imagine that it just magically came into existence? No. You realize there was a builder, an intelligent design behind that building. Well, so many people look at the universe and they say, oh, it just came into existence magically.
Oh, the watchmaker analogy. A classic. Yes, buildings have builders. Buildings are made of materials that already existed by beings that already existed, using tools that already existed. So your argument for a creator God is that everything needs a creator, except God, who just existed. Magically.
And then through evolution, all of this happened. I want to talk to you about that in your morning cup of inspiration. There are many arguments for the existence of God. One is the cosmological argument, which says that everything that exists had a cause for its beginning outside of itself, so it didn't create itself. The teleological argument says the universe displays such immense complexities and precise fine-tuning that's necessary for sustaining life. So that suggests an intelligent design, not random chance.
Oh, he's read a book. 2 arguments that philosophers have been picking apart for centuries, and he's going to solve them in a morning cup of inspiration video. Brilliant.
But 2 things that I think definitely prove the existence of God are the eye and the brain.
Definitely prove. Definitely. The eye and the brain. Not the cosmological argument, not the teleological argument. The eye. Right.
Do you know how complex the eye is? It has over 2 million working parts. Think about that. Over 40 subsystems that allow it to have advanced light detection and image processing.
Yes, the eye is incredibly complex. You know what else is complex? The fact that the eye has a blind spot because the optic nerve is attached to the wrong side of the retina. A squid's eye doesn't have that problem, by the way. If someone designed the human eye, they were doing a rush job.
And then it operates as an extension of the brain through over 1 million nerve fibers. And the brain is even more complex with the eye because the brain is the seat of intelligence, the interpreter of our senses, the initiator of body movements, and the controller of behavior. Think about that. Do you think that all just came into existence from an explosion? From nothing?
Nobody said from nothing. That's not what the Big Bang Theory says. And evolution has nothing to do with the Big Bang. These are 2 separate things. One explains the origin of the universe, one explains the diversity of life. Mixing them up is like saying, do you think your house just flew here on a plane? Different things, mate.
Well, the Bible tells us how it came into existence in the first verse. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And in 1 Corinthians 2:9, Paul writes, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither has entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for those who love him. So if you think the world and the universe are magnificent, just wait till you see what's coming. Heaven will be great. I hope that inspires you, and I'll talk to you soon for another morning cup of inspiration.
So your evidence that the universe was intelligently designed is a verse from the book written by the people who believed in the designer. Yeah, that's not evidence. That's just the thing you're trying to prove, stated again with more gravitas, I guess. Next.
Can we prove the existence of God? Atheists say there is 0 evidence, but I say there's too much to count. We're going to go through some of the best arguments, evidences, and scientific facts that point to a creator. From the edge of the universe to the DNA in your blood, this is the ultimate case for God. Clock starts now.
Too much to count. This is going to be great. Clock starts now, apparently. Let's go.
Science confirms that the universe has not always existed, but it has a start date. The law of causality states that everything that begins must have a cause. The universe began, therefore it must have a cause. Nothing comes from nothing. Since something exists now, something eternal must have always existed.
Sure. So what caused God? Oh, God is eternal and doesn't need a cause. Right. So you've just invented a special rule that applies to everything except the thing you're trying to prove. That's not an argument. That's just putting a sign on God that says, different rules apply here.
Like this fidget spinner, the universe is slowly running out of usable energy, so someone had to set it into motion.
He used a fidget spinner as evidence for God? I'm sorry, I need a minute.
If the universe expanded any faster, then galaxies couldn't form. But any slower, and it all collapses. Something cannot cause itself. The cause of space cannot be space. The cause of time cannot be time. Sounds like we need an omnipresent, eternal God.
Does it though? Does the fine-tuning of the universe specifically point to the God of the Bible, or does it just point to some explanation? You've gone from the universe is finely tuned to therefore Jesus in about, 8 seconds?
Dead forces can't create anything. Only a personal mind can create something.
That's just asserted with total confidence and zero evidence. Stars create elements, gravity creates structure. Neither of those have a personal mind. Next point, please.
Virtually every scholar, whether atheist or not, agrees that Jesus is a real person. Here's a question. Was the tomb really empty? Well, even Jesus' enemies admitted that it was.
2 separate claims snuck in there. Most scholars do think a historical Jesus existed, sure, but the tomb was empty is considerably more contested, and his enemies admitted it is sourced entirely from documents written by people who believed in the resurrection. It's not independent corroboration.
Imagine a book that was actually made up of 66 different books written by over 40 authors and yet contained only one unified story.
Have you read it? There are 2 contradictory creation stories in the first 2 chapters. The unified story argument falls apart pretty quickly when you actually open the thing.
How can consciousness exist when matter cannot produce a subjective experience? The energy of empty space is fine-tuned to 1 part in 10 to the power of 120.
These are 2 completely different arguments just thrown at the screen one after another. This isn't a case for a god, it's a rapid-fire list of things he hopes you won't have time to think about.
It's the most precise number in all of physics. 29, 30 pieces of silver. Zechariah predicted the exact price of the Messiah's betrayal centuries in advance.
The Bible predicted something that is also in the Bible. Incredible!
Guys, let's be honest, if you made it this far in the video, then you are an absolute legend. Please like and subscribe, it helps me out a bunch, and let's get back to the video.
In the middle of the ultimate case for God, we stop for a like and a subscribe. The clock is still ticking, by the way.
Thousands of people report seeing the same spiritual realities when they're pronounced clinically dead.
Thousands of people report seeing tunnels of light and feeling peaceful. You know what else causes that? Oxygen deprivation, which is what happens when you're dying. That's not evidence of heaven. That's just neuroscience.
The human eye is so complex that it actually baffled Darwin.
Darwin was baffled by the eye and then spent several pages on the origin of species explaining exactly how it could have evolved. He answered his own question in the same book that you clearly haven't read. Was it just me, or did this seem like a collection of extra stupid this time? I'm not sure how much more of this I can take. No, who am I kidding? This is fun. I'll point out more stupidity soon. Which was your favourite clip this time? Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as a shout out to that bloody awesome dinosaur documentary. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon. Dark Ether Piao, Tamo, The Barely Bearable Atheist, George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockart, The Enixes, Jakari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech Fred, Rick and Ray, as well as all the $3 base ticks and channel members. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description along with links to all my other socials. Or become a member by hitting the join button below this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.